Oh, wait. Don't panic. Don't make any hasty decisions. This is just week 2 of the NBA fantasy basketball season, and we are here to support you in your quest for fantasy basketball domination. Welcome to the Game Pick Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Robin Marks. You can connect with me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Game Pick Podcast. If you love fantasy basketball, please consider subscribing. We release new episodes every single week. And before I move on, please stick around until the end, because if you miss any of these nuggets, you might very well lose your matchup this week. Now, I had a rough week in terms of like personal fantasy stuff, right? So I said, you know what? This season, I'm not going to do too many leagues because I need to have my attention, spread out evenly. And just like every year, I jumped in way too many leagues. So I'm sitting here this week creating content, doing all of this stuff, going to work, taking care of my kids, and like absolutely didn't even take my own advice. I missed a bunch of important waiver pickups, just a really rough week for me for fantasy in terms of being a player. However, it's a really good week, as in terms of Game Pick podcast. We got a couple new sponsors. We also got, I want to say 134 new people in our Discord community this week. So I just wanted to lead off the actual episode with some gratitude and just thank everyone for watching. If you're checking this out on Twitter, if you're checking it out on YouTube, if you joined our mailing list, if you're in our Discord, wherever you are, if you know Game Pick and you're following what we're doing here, I just wanted to start by showing you that gratitude. With that being said, we're going to jump right into news and injuries. Okay, so last week when I did news and injuries, I kind of went through the list of the CBS injury report. This week, we're going to do it a little different. And just know that as we move through the season, I might make little tweaks to the, format in order to provide, just smooth and consistent value to you. So what I did was I have a few players we're going to go over, just some players that are recent injuries, but also I believe the injuries that are impacting our fantasy world, right? So I don't want to like talk about the fifth string center from the Bucks, whoever, whatever, that might be injured or something like that. We want to talk about guys that you actually have on your roster or might impact your waiver acquisition choices. So let's start off with Al Horford. So in Boston, as you know, the front, the front court is banged up. They got Williams out, and now they have Al Horford out. Al Horford is going to be out for a few. I think in late October is when he's set to return. But people are asking, should they add Blake Griffin, Noah Vonleh? For me, I think there might be other valuable pieces on your waiver wire that you can consider. However, over the next couple of weeks, I would monitor this. This is a high alert. Pay attention to what's happening in Boston because a player like Noah Vonleh, who I think is pretty good, could like get some extra playing time and then carve out a role for himself. So this is not a, hey, go run and pick up Blake Griffin, Grant Williams, or Noah Vonleh, but it's really to monitor the situation. Of the three, I like Grant Williams the best. He has the most upside. Obviously, he's a smaller guy, but he does play he does get some front court action at times. So I would be really, really mindful of what's happening in Boston. Next up is LaMelo Ball, and we talked about LaMelo last week, but what I want to add to that is that now Terry Rozier is banged up. So Terry Rozier is banged up. LaMelo's out until at least they say October 26th. So this creates tons of opportunity for Dennis Smith, particularly Dennis Smith Jr. And he's been consistently contributing over the last couple games that he's played, but with now Rozier a little banged up, if he misses any significant time, this could be a game changer for Dennis Smith. So you want to pay attention to Dennis Smith, and we'll talk more about him when we talk waiver targets and drops. Next up is Darius Garland. I love Darius Garland. I have him in a bunch of leagues. Like, man, I'm high on Darius Garland, especially for Dynasty. Like I am uber crazy about Darius Garland for Dynasty. So he had an eye injury. I think it's like a laceration under his eyelid, which is kind of crazy. But the good news is he does not require any surgery. I don't think there are any significant ads, for Cleveland right now. But I do think it's something to be mindful of in terms of usage for those players. So this might be an opportunity if you have a Jared Allen, if you have an Evan Mobley, or if you have a Donovan Mitchell, for example, and you want to make a trade right now, this could be a good time to monitor their output, because this won't be a an accurate assessment of what they'll bring day to day. You know what I'm saying? So once Garland is back and the team kind of develops that chemistry, we'll get an idea of what their normal output will be in terms of fantasy statistics. But right now might be a sell high moment if any of those players you want to move on from. So for me, of those three players, I would definitely be interested in moving Donovan Mitchell just because I have a personal history with him. Take it with a grain of salt. But for Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, you might want to move them. I have one of my boys, Donut Boy, who's in my leagues and also has done some content with me. He's a huge Cleveland Cavaliers fan. If you have a Cavs fan in your league and you want to like get that, player like a Zion, a Devin Booker, or whoever it is, and you want to flip one of those players, this could be a good opportunity because they might see a significant spike with Garland being out. Okay. Next up, we got, oh my God, the rest bros. That's what I'm calling them, the rest bros. So listen, people get on me all the time in the comments, especially on TikTok, not so much on YouTube, but definitely on TikTok. People get on me about how I'm so like anti Kawhi Leonard when it comes to fantasy sports. I'll start by saying that I think all NBA players are great because there's only a certain amount of those jobs available in the world. And though that small amount of people, there's a certain level of skill that they need to have. So I got mad respect for all NBA players. I love all NBA players in throughout the whole league. Now, when we talk about superstars and we talk about fantasy, like this is my thing with people like AD, people like Jimmy Butler, people like Kawhi Leonard, specifically Kawhi Leonard. So Kawhi Leonard, if you guys didn't know, for their game against the Lakers last week, your man came off the bench. Your man came off the bench, was like, nah, Ty Lue, I want to rest the first couple minutes of the game. I'm gonna come off the bench. Like, come on, B. Like these people are paying thousands, sometimes thousands of dollars to get seats to watch you play. Come on, man. Like, and I get it, man. I'm not trying to hate on Kawhi at a personal level. He's probably a great guy. I'm talking about for fantasy. I want nothing to do with not the Clippers, with Kawhi Leonard. So the rest bros, Kawhi Leonard and John Wall, both of them are on the injury report as of the time of recording this episode, and they are both listed as the injury. Oh, I'm tired. Rest. Out of here, man. Okay. Next up is Jalen Suggs from Orlando. Jalen Suggs, especially in Dynasty. I'm high on Jalen Suggs, not so much in redraft leagues, but hey, I'll try him out. But now he's going to be out, it looks like, until early November. So if you want to, if you're into Jalen Suggs, based on the size of your league, so like if you're in an 8-man league, you might have to consider dropping him, right? But if you're in a 12, you don't want to sell right now because he's injured. You're not going to get back any value on that. There's going to be no return on your investment if you trade now. So I would hold if you really are interested in Jalen Suggs. And the last one we want to talk about is Scotty Barnes. This hurts, man. I got a bunch of Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is going to be out with an ankle injury. I'm heartbroken by that because that's one of my teams. I have very few wings, and he's my wing, so I'm really sad about that. Next up, I want to go right into our waiver targets and drops. So we're going to take a look at Yahoo and their transaction trends to just kind of see what people are doing, who are the players that are getting dropped, and who are the players that are getting added. And then also try to make sense to see if there's any of these players are players that we have interest in. So we'll start with players to pick up, players to add. So right now, and at the time of recording this, it looks like people are crazy over Kelly Olynyk. He plays tonight, so people are probably trying to stream him. So I'm okay with that. I have to pull up his stats to see what he did. He might have went off recently, and maybe that's why he's so high. But Kelly Olynyk is someone that, if you're looking at for Sunday night, then maybe, but I don't really have any interest in him as of right now. Dennis Smith Jr., I do. He's number 2 on this list, and I have tons of interest in him. Again, a lot of it has to do with monitoring what is happening with Terry Rozier. If Terry Rozier is banged up and going to be out for some time, then I'm firing up Dennis Smith Jr. all day, every day. And tomorrow, John Conchar is next. And John Conchar is somebody, I believe it was last year, man. He had a little time period where he was fired up and he was pumping out tons of value for fantasy owners who grabbed him off the waiver wire. He has eligibility for shooting guard and small forward, which is very, very tempting. I feel like a used car salesman right now. Provide you a decent amount of assists, some 3-point shots. Let me go. So Conchar, I love Conchar, and I think that a lot of it has to do with the injuries that Memphis, they're having experience right now, go through. I think he's gonna take advantage of the opportunity. So Conchar, I'm all in on him. So I would definitely consider picking him up. Lonnie Walker Jr. Oh my goodness. This is a guy that I thought was gonna be so good in San Antonio, so good, and just could never quite get the consistency. This season with the Lakers, he might be able to carve out a legitimate role. Again, it's a bit of speculation. I'm not sure. I think they've played 2 or 3 games, so I don't have enough data to really make a solid decision. But it's worth saying that I think it's within the range of outcomes that he is a consistent fantasy contributor. Will he be like a top 100 guy? I don't know. Could he be a top 120 guy? Maybe. We'll see what happens. And the last person that people are or the last couple people, we got Kevin Herter. People are grabbing Jordan Clarkson and then Kessler, the big man from Utah. So those are the people you want to consider adding. Let's talk about people who are getting dropped on Yahoo right now. So also, this is weird. So on the most added list, John Conchar was there, and now he's also at the top of the I'm checking to make sure this is right. He's at the top of the most drop list as well. Again, I'm gonna test it and see what happens, but he's definitely on the most drop list, number 1. Then we have Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba is number 2 on that list. I think it's just because of poor performance. And then Bones Highland. Wow, is this right? Yo, my man Bones is getting dropped like crazy. Jalen Duren is getting dropped. Man, I'm a little shocked by this list. And then Ayo Dosunmu. Well, Ayo Dosunmu makes sense because Zach LaVine made his return. And if you own if you have any Zach LaVine stock, I imagine that you are pretty concerned, but have faith. I think that he can definitely have a good season. We just need him to stay healthy. So those are the ads and drops for this week 2 of the NBA season. Now, I want to talk about our sponsor. Our sponsor this week is Owner's Box. On Owner's Box, we want to make sure that we highlight their new one-of-a-kind fantasy sports format, Lightning lineups. All you have to do is spin, pick, and win. Let me explain. The game is super simple. All you have to do is pick the lineup that you think will score the most fantasy points. When you start the game, you'll see 3 lineups with 3 players each. If you don't like the options presented to you, this is very important. You can pick brand new lineups. So you don't get stuck with the lineups that you get. You can kind of pick until you find something that works. And once you see the lineup you want, you can go from there. But you can keep hitting the lightning lineups button as many times. What I say is it's like going to the slots at Vegas, seeing the numbers that you like, don't like, and you can try again without having to put more money in, which is really, really cool. So you can spend as many times as you want until you find a team that you like. After you pick your lineup, you can even add more lineups to increase your payouts. Finally, choose your desired entry amount and watch live as your team racks up points. It's as easy as spin, pick, win. Sign up right now and use the promo code GamePickPodcast. Owner's Box will match your first deposit. Get ready for this. Up to $500. It is like getting free money. It is the biggest deposit match that I've ever seen in the daily fantasy industry. Do not miss out. To sign up, just download the Owner's Box app on Android or iOS, and don't forget to use the promo code GamePickPodcast. Now, next up, we're going to talk about streaming. We're going to talk about what I'm calling the Stream Team. That's the name of this segment. It is called the Stream Team. Hanging out by the river. So if you're new to streaming, or fantasy, I should say, if you're new to fantasy basketball, the concept of streaming is a little different than it is for fantasy football. So for fantasy football, we stream defenses, we stream tight ends, maybe some of the positions that there's not as much scarcity around talent or whatever, or the points on the team or the roster spot on the team is not as valuable as like a wide receiver or a running back. We might stream a defense, we might stream a kicker, some people even stream quarterbacks. It's a little different for fantasy basketball. So for fantasy basketball, most people are in what we call daily changes leagues. So leagues that they change their roster daily. So for example, you might have a team that has 6 players playing on Monday, where your opponent might have 10 players playing on Monday. So you would essentially have to take the worst 2 people on your team, and cycle them out by bringing in new players from the waiver wire. So your bottom 1 or 2 people, you want to think about like building your team strong enough at the top where you can have a weaker player, like let's say like Lonnie Walker, Conchar, guys like that, and you can cycle them out for new players. The key is that you want to make sure that you're paying attention to which days are streamable days. You know what I mean? So which days have low volume of games happening that day. You know what I'm saying? So typically, if on a Monday night, for example, if they're like 15 games, 12 games, something like that, then you really can't stream that day, because you're going to have so many players that you're going to have to pick who you want to start and who you're going to want to sit. So what you want to look for are the nights where they have about 7 to 8 games happening. Those are the nights that you can actually stream. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through Monday through Sunday, which days you can actually stream, and then I'm going to share with you the stream team. Disclaimer, the stream team this week is not very sexy. It is not very sexy. Okay, so Monday, we have 8 games on Monday. Monday, we have 8 games. You can stream on Monday. You should be able to find some players to cycle in there. Tuesday is a big streaming day because there are only 4 games happening on Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday of week 2, only 2 games happening. Very important. Then Wednesday we have 10 games. I don't think you'll be able to stream. So I wouldn't target that as a streaming day. Thursday there are only 4 games. So you want to make sure you're finding players that are available on Thursday so you can stream them. And on Friday, there are 11 games. You will not be able to stream. Saturday, we have 7 games. Yes, you'll be able to stream. Sunday, we have 8 games. Yes, you will be able to stream. So now let me talk about my stream team. We have 2 teams that have 4 optimal games this week, meaning all 4 of their games will happen on those low volume days, those days where we don't have a lot of games, the days where we will be able to stream. Those teams are the Dallas Mavs and the Golden State Warriors. So these are the players that might be available, or I'm pretty confident all of them are available. But again, these are not guys that are super sexy. But let's go. From the Mavs, you might want to take a look at Tim Hardaway Jr. I watched the game last night against I think they were playing Memphis on Saturday night. Amazing. Like, I was really blown away by Hardaway. I'm not sure what his stats were off the top of my head, but he could bring you some value, especially if you're looking for some 3-pointers for the 3-point category. That could work for you. Then we have McGee, Bullock, Kleber. Those are the guys. Again, I told you it wasn't sexy at all. And I'm going to move on because I got a little bit of throw up in my mouth. From the Golden State Warriors, Kevon Looney, fire him up. James Wiseman, fire him up. JaMychal Green, don't sleep. JaMychal Green is carving out some time for himself, a role for himself. And then Kuminga is not getting any playing time right now, so I would stay away from him, but I would monitor. Just take a look. If anyone gets injured this week, anyone's going to be out, sitting, resting, then you might want to consider him. You know what I mean? All right. So now the next segment is going to be Q&A from our Discord. So basically what I'm doing is I'm asking people from our Discord to send me some questions so I can share them on the show. And also I'm checking out our general Q&A section of the Discord to see if we can give you guys some value, because I imagine some of you are new, or many of you are new to fantasy. So maybe some of these questions you have as well. Maybe some of these players you have on your rosters as well, or maybe you have similar situations that you're facing, and this could probably help you out a lot. So let's go ahead and jump in. So the first question is a trade question, and it's a who wins. This is from my man Aussie Boomers. He had a really nice screenshot here too. Very cool. So team 1 has Desmond Bane and Nikola Jokic. Quick side note, if you have Jokic, don't put yourself in a position where you are trading Jokic. Like, that people are going to offer you the moon for Jokic. And if you get a certain level deal, you're going to consider it. With that being said, like, try not to get into trade negotiations with Jokic unless you're just like out on him, or you're like set on losing your season. But don't get into trade conversations with Jokic. Anyway, so Desmond Bane and Jokic on team 1. Team 2, get ready for this. Paolo Banchero, Anthony Davis. Oh my God, you guys know how I feel about Anthony Davis. I cannot. And then Bam Adebayo. So, okay, this is easy for me. So I typically say whoever gets the best player in the trade wins, right? This is tough because they gave you 2 high quality guys in Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo. And then they threw in Paolo Banchero. If Paolo Banchero is your throw-in, this is crazy. And also, if it's a redraft league, right? So if this is a dynasty league, obviously Paolo Banchero boosts the value of team 2. You know what I'm saying? So either way, it's a trade I'm not happy with. But if I had to pick a side, Aussie Boomers, I would say that team 2, Paolo Banchero, Anthony Davis, and Bam Adebayo, they win that trade. But again, I'm not happy with that at all. Okay, so next question is from Text. That's TEXK. He says, Zach LaVine or Jaylen Brown? So just generally speaking, right? So it helps, guys, if you give me some context for your teams, like how big is the league? What format are you playing in? But overall, I'm more of a Zach LaVine guy. The injuries are a bit concerning for me. So like him missing the first game of the season. But again, I always tell people, like I said at the beginning of this episode, don't panic. It's just the first couple weeks of the season. Let it play out and see what happens. So if I had to pick out of the 2, I would pick Zach LaVine. Okay. So let's go to the next question here. I'm going to pull that up for us. Next up, we have a question about who should we pick. So the question is, do we pick Brunson? I love Brunson. Do we pick Maxey or do we pick Clarkson?
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
And that is for category leagues. So for me, I'm really a Maxey guy. I love Maxey, but you can't deny the value of Brunson. Like Brunson contributes in a way that regardless of who is scoring points, he's gonna be there to get assists. He's also gonna clean up the glass a little bit. You know, as a small guy, he'll get you some rebounds for a guard. So for me, it's between Brunson and Maxey. So I'm gonna have to go Brunson on this one. For this week, I'm gonna go Brunson. Okay. Here we go. This one is a really complicated one, and we'll end with this one. This one is from Javier Rogers. Thank you, Javier. He says, man, here's where I'm at. Thinking about dropping Şengün for Kelly Olynyk or Jalen Smith. Obviously, Steven Silas is not riding the Şengün wave, and for some reason, he plays Gary ahead. Anyways, I know it's the first week of the season, but if it's anything like last year, Şengün won't pick up any value until midway through the season. Any thoughts? Okay. I love how you frame that, and I love the context. So Şengün is actually, I believe, Şengün is actually a really good player. He's proven when he gets playing time that he contributes for fantasy specifically, right? I think he had a good game recently. You know what I mean? I want to pull it up and just take a look. But he had a pretty good game recently, which gave me some hope because, again, it's so early in the season. And for me, here we go. So on October 21st, he had 23 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks, solid game. And then the following game, he had 23 minutes with 26 fantasy points, according to this particular league I'm in. With that said, if he can carve out 25 to 30 minutes, I think he's valuable. And also he does enough in that time to prove to Silas that he should get more minutes, right? So I think that the goal of the organization is to get him there. Because he's so young, we might not see him fully unleashed this year. I see no sense in it. I say let him go. Like, you know, open up the floodgates and let it rip. So I'm still all in on Alperen Şengün until I see otherwise. Don't panic. A lot of people I saw people dropping him in game 1 of the season because he only played 22 minutes. He only played 22 minutes. He had about 14 fantasy points. People weren't happy about that, so they dropped him. Don't panic. Stay calm. Hold. And if you do have concerns, when I have players that I invested, you know, a reasonable amount of draft capital in, I don't like go dropping them. What I'll do is I'll hold, especially early in the season. Like worst case scenario, you'll be 0-1 this week. Whoops, whoopity do, right? You can make it back from that. But I would say if it's someone that you put some investment in, you might want to consider waiting for that explosion, that big game, and then selling high. So I'm all in on Alperen Şengün. I think that he will bounce back, and I think that if he gets 25 to 30 minutes a game, he is going to be a huge contributor for your championship run. All right. So now we are all wrapped up with our Q&A. I want to go ahead and talk about our creator of the week. So the next segment is called Fantasy Basketball Creator of the Week, where I typically, you know, when I do shows, I just kind of do fantasy, pickups, waivers. But this season, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to stop and just kind of like show some gratitude, give some flowers to all of the creators out there who are making fantasy basketball content. Listen, I say it all the time. It is not an easy road. Let me get a sip of this coffee for this part. It is not an easy road being a content creator in general. It's definitely not an easy road being a fantasy basketball content creator. Like, it is a super niche down segment of the fantasy sports industry. And we are the distant redheaded stepchild cousin of fantasy football. So, right? So, like, fantasy football is king, and then there's like fantasy basketball, right? So, what we're doing here is trying to create awareness for this game, especially for my fantasy football guys. I come from the fantasy football world. So, like, my whole angle is like, I started off as a fantasy football player, found fantasy basketball and fell in love, and it is my favorite fantasy sport now. So what I want to do every week is just take a little bit of time to show some love to the creators out there that I follow, that I watch, and also make sure that my audience doesn't just have one voice to hear. So, like, if I'm the person that you've listened to and found, great. But I want you to go out and support these other channels as well. And that's what this is about. So I'm not gonna go any further on that. I'm gonna go right into it. So this week, for week 2 of the NBA season, the fantasy basketball creator of the week, drum roll, please, is none other than my man, Barack Lesnar Hoops. Barack Lesnar Hoops. Yeah. So Barack Lesnar, followed him a lot last year. And when I was doing my episode about the best content creators for fantasy basketball, I noticed that he didn't have a video out for 10 months. So I was worried. I was like, what's up with my man? 10-month hiatus. Dropped the episode literally, y'all. Literally like a day or two after that, he dropped a new video, which I was so hyped about. So I don't know if someone told him or if it was just the universe working, that we were looking for you, Barack. So I appreciate you. I think that your knowledge is clear, and also the value that you provide is undeniable. So I appreciate you. One more time, let's give it up for the fantasy basketball creator of the week, Barack Lesnar Hoops. Yep. Now, you know how we do. The next thing we got to do is shout out, and this is an important segment because this is, again, more gratitude. We're going to shout out the new Discord members in the Game Pick fantasy community. So we're going to go right into that, which is, again, something that I love doing. And the cool thing is, like, some of these names, y'all, oh my God, some of these names are so hilarious. We're going to get right into it. Oh, let's go. All right, cool. Here we go. So first up, our newest member signed up today at 3:19 a.m. It is Sunday morning recording this. Big shout out to Docky. Next, we got the Mutant 4, Astro, Poop Smoke, y'all. Poop Smoke. That is it. That is the name of the day. The Baller Mike 1, Anti-Hero 07. Then we got RTXZETZU, King James 23. King James 23. I love that name. Fire Pulsar, Campo, Lev, Markina, Aisha B. Haisha. I'm sorry, I probably jacked that all the way up. Iced, Skyman 360, Kono Hash Finest, Dear Isaac, Payback, Pepe 523, Backpack. Big shout out to Mackie Boo. Love that name. Solo Dolo 99, bars. Solo Dolo 99 rhyme. Chris Uslack, Jones the Guru. Love that name, Jones. Pat A. Formai, Malik Superman 23, Ayal the King, M. Bonham, Gatorhead 74. Love it. Gabe, David C 107, User 123, Dave Chic, Gumbo 32, Q Chat 5, Bird, DB 24, Liam 25, Red Head Ranger, Jean-Pierre, God, Senseless Panda, DMAT 30, AD 11253, Blank Rank, KB, Add Xma MXD, Skyman 360. Big shout out to Skyman 360. We connected on YouTube. He joined the community, also got into a couple of leagues. Like, I'm really hyped to have you here, brother. Well, Boint, Teflon, JRD, Slim Chocolate. Okay, I ain't mad at that. All right. Zero Drip. Jamal's Balls. Bars. Jamal's Balls. Lou Rawls in the call. Okay. GRLS Love Polo 23. Clout Got J. Noah Condones. Love that name. Artsy. AK-47 Rocket 4. Rizzy Ray Rogers. Taco Dot Season. Ryan Wright. Josh J1456, Jim Stewart, Stone Dog, love that name. Al Shiesty, the Saint 34, Bradley S66, Tom H9908, Yellowish, Toby.Maxi, Slick Rick, love that name. Jordany 016, Kazri, who that dad? Love that name. Nico, MDG Vision, Dragon Slayer 27, Tal, Kai 7667, Yasher 07, Hybe Man, Ken Pachi, Wills, Vector, SVS Sagas, Jacoby, Slidey Flops, love that name. Wide Boy, love that name. FCLLEN, Gooba, love that name. Justin BBB, Matt Ajar 76, Epicus, Nutticus, Bars, love that name. That is a good one. That's coming after Poop Smoke. That's a good one. MC Theo, Bars. Jazz CO2, Sean Diddy. Oh, I didn't know P. Diddy was here. Okay. Clutch is my middle name. Very straightforward. Yams, Home Slice, Corrupt, Sanic 72, Grant Steen 42069, TSM Ronin, Tenate Noel the One, RJW 35, X Rated, Carlos M, BBUJ JVHIJVGU, Javier Rogers, Benson Otis, Virus, Carson, look at Curry, man. Love that name. Aero 560, Owen Terrell, Sham, Dumner Barbecue, Odie, Tariq Delcroix, Willem, Lucas, Bryce Freshett, Newton Graphics, Showtime Zero, Arm the Sharks, love it. Shades B, LeBron, oh, the king is here. Antonio Ray, A1 Person, Mo Knows, last but not least, Luke 69. Folks, that is about, I want to say 134 new people this week. And just to give you some context, because I know that was a little lengthy, we're going to go through every person that joins the group from Luke 78 on. I'm sorry, not Luke 78. The first one we said, who was, let me give you guys the name because I just want to make sure we're on record. It was Docky, right? So after Docky, there's going to be new people for next week's show, for the week 3 show. We're going to shout every single one of you out just to let you know that we appreciate you. We're grateful for you. And even if it takes a couple minutes at the end of the episode, who cares? It's all good. It's just, it's just a video. But the gratitude is absolutely real. I want to make sure you guys know that that is where I like to lead, is with gratitude. If you have an idea for a future episode, please do me a favor and drop a comment and let us know. And also join this Discord group. Join this Discord server. It is so valuable. It's kicking right now at the beginning of the season. If you're in the Discord, please continue to support the other people there. So don't just ask your question, ghost, and come back and look for the answer. Go back and scroll. Go back and scroll. Look at some of those questions and see if you can help. And even just give your opinion, even if you don't feel like you're like a professional analyst. Like, no, come on. No one in the group is a professional analyst. We're just there having fun. So, well, there might be a few professional analysts in there, actually. Anyway, you look at it. We're just there having fun. So if you need help with waiver pickups, trades, dynasty questions, team names, the works, all you have to do is hit the link in the description of this episode to join for free. Also, don't forget to bang on that subscribe button. Hit us with a thumbs up, which is a like for you people who don't know Das Effects. And please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That is so important. That is one of the things you can do to support this channel that will greatly impact us. Go to Apple Podcasts right now if you can, and just leave us a 5-star review if you've enjoyed this show. And don't forget, play the waivers, set your lineups, and follow Game Pick, your freaking fantasy nerd. That was harsh. See you next week. Peace.